The grassroots fight against the Harmonized Sales Tax is hitting home for Premier Gordon Campbell. The petition campaign has now collected the required minimum 10% of signatures in the Premier's own constituency. It is a symbolic milestone in the neighbourhood that has sent the Premier back to the legislature again and again. And all of this, and the fact it seems to be getting personal, seems to be getting to him. A-News legislature reporter Shachi Curl joins us now with more. Shachi.
Hudson, Fight-HST initiative organizers have met and exceeded the threshold to go ahead with their petition here on the island. They did that a while ago. Canvassers were out again over the long weekend. But when the Harmonized Sales Tax irks the people in the Premier's own constituency, like Campbell, it gets under his skin. Back from a trade mission to Asia, at a good news announcement spending money from leftover good times, Gordon Campbell wasn't feeling the love.
Look, I'm under no illusions. I think that people are very unhappy with how the HST was done. I think there's probably only one thing in the province less popular than the HST, and that's potentially me at this particular moment.
The HST, the ugly little mess waiting for the Premier on his return. This morning, news that 83 out of 85 constituencies have reached the magic 10% of signatures needed for the initiative campaign. The latest domino to fall, Vancouver-Point Grey, Gordon Campbell's own constituency, where voters have sent him back to the legislature 5 times, but where at least 10% have rejected his harmonized sales tax.
There's been an awful lot of misinformation that's been out there about it. We are constricted in what we can talk about right now.
But by the time he returned to the legislature this afternoon, he was ready to stop blaming and start slugging it out.
There are times when you have to do what's right in the long-term interests of the province for the next generation of British Columbians, not just what's expedient, and I'll fight for that.
And it continued into question period, where Campbell, who usually leaves the defense of the HST to his finance minister, was ready to head the fight himself.
If the Premier's too stubborn to stop the HST before July 1st, will he commit today that if the initiative petition passes, that he will finally listen to the public, either call a referendum or bring in and pass legislation to stop the HST?
We were very clear a year ago.
We would do everything. We will do everything we can to make this economy stronger. When is the leader of the opposition going to go to that forest worker and say, I don't care about your job? When is the leader of the opposition going to go to the miner and say, I don't care about your job? When is the leader of the opposition going to go to the small business person and say, I don't care about your job? We do care about their jobs. We do care about the economy.
Perhaps the most impassioned defense we've heard in a long time for an unpopular tax. And while Campbell acknowledges it's healthy to vent, he's not ready to blink, even when the anger is coming from home. So, Hudson, we're seeing all this momentum as the last couple of constituencies round out their numbers with this petition campaign. But what happens after that? We heard Carol James asking in the House today whether the government would bring in a referendum on the HST if enough signatures were gathered, that 10% across the province. He's saying no, that's not going to happen. Instead, the whole process will be referred to a legislative committee that will then look at this and decide what to do next. It's really the government's way of putting the brakes and trying to cool down the fervor on the anti-HST side and try to get people to calm down as this thing tends to pick up more and more momentum and gain speed.
It certainly does seem to be doing that. Shachi, thank you.
You're welcome.
Shachi Curl reporting.